Hello guys, welcome to the Train Parrot and to another live stream connection. Today is Tuesday, 2nd of December, 3 p.m. in UK, and we are seeing some positive moves on the price. As you can see, we are pinching 89. It's already $400 up. As I'm recording, it's moving fast across our fair value gap. In today's video, we're going to cover the short term of this move, whether it's sustainable. I'll mention the levels of resistance that we are immediately facing. If you're a scalper, swing trader, you're going to be interested on all those levels. In the video, we'll cover as well some news in general about the markets, and we'll cover Ethereum. I got a lot of people asking me what's going on with Ethereum and with the altcoins. By the end of the video, the people that request first, their coins are going to be reviewed first. So make sure that you write down in the comments which coin you want me to review. Of course, hitting the like, writing down, remaining active in the chat is what the channel precisely needs. So if you can help the channel, that will be fantastic. We are streaming on X and on YouTube at the same time. Let me know in the comments if the levels are good, if everything is good, and we are ready to go. We're going to start with the 4-hour time frame. And as you can see, I was hoping from here to get a bounce. I was looking for a double bottom. I was looking at previous performance around this area, and we went straight back up. Basically, we use our bullet of the fair value gap. I mentioned that the fair value gap can make the move very fast. If there is a reversal, we can use that to teletransport throughout the area of, let's say 88 all the way to 90 is a very quick ride. Things can slow down as we approach 90 to 92K. That is the area most traded, and is the area where we define, can we reclaim the point of control on the 4-hour is the actual challenge. Let's call it the way it is. Crossing the fair value gap, getting into the order block and seeing a rejection, it can happen. We need to be prepared in that case. Ideally, this time, instead of following the path of the fair value gap, which makes things so fast to the downside or to the upside, ideally, if we can use this neckline in here to produce a higher low at 88.5. That's just not a guess, it's just wishful thinking. So if we get into 92, why is it so important as a resistance? Not just because of the 4-hour point of control, not just because we're going to face again that 62 RSI that is coming in closer to the price as we speak, but also if we go into the daily time frame, you're going to see in here that at around 92 we face CPR levels. And on the daily, we're doing what I was wishing to happen today. It's intra-candle, so I cannot claim I was right. It's too early to say that. This could be a trap. It could be a bull trap. You never know. But if we were to close today like this is the beginning of what I wanted. Right, so I wanted from 42 to 45. That's what I said in the morning, and we can see that we are already going into 42, 48. Notice when I say this is what I want, I'm on your side. I'm assuming that you are long, you might be short, or you might be in a different strategy. But if you are long, that is what you will want at this point in time. Personally, you know my position. I am long, but I don't want the price to move up. Crazy, right? But that is kind of based on risk to reward. It's a little bit stepping out of just wanting the price to go in my direction, but actually being in a position of strength. That's where I'm coming from. Because if we get into 100K and that is a dead cat bounce, my break even is 101, it's not great. On the daily, challenge has just started, right? We are pinching the 90K. We're coming back for a second attempt to reclaim the falling wedge. And we are forming potentially a double bottom in here. So if we carry on into 92 and we close today or tomorrow at 92, we will have produced a full double bottom. Let's look at it. Let's look at the detail. Is this a bullish divergence? No, it is not. Let me see if we have one before. No, we didn't have. So what I'm doing is I'm aligning price relative to previous pivots. Sorry about that. On the price together with the momentum. So in here we have the lowest low. Here we have a higher low, both on price and RSI. Therefore, there is no bullish divergence. Is that terrible? No, but we will have done, in my opinion, a little bit better if we first do a bullish divergence. Well, anyways, we reset fully the RSI on the daily. We pinched that global support. We reclaim, we broke out, we retest, we reclaim green. Things are going good for the daily so far. We also are printing the first P from here. That is on this second pivot. We have 2 around this pivot and we have 1 on this other pivot. So we are creating a full collection of volatility peaking to the downside, and we are potentially getting this RSI to form an inverse head and shoulders. We need to get into 45 for that. I'm getting ahead of myself, right? So first I wanted to get into 45. Then we need to get into 45 and break out. And then we continue to form new directional breakouts to the upside, assuming we continue in that direction. In no way I'm saying that that is for granted forecast or anything, but I always like to pave the way in my brain of how things can go, independently of this case that I actually want it to go lower. I wanted to break the red line again. I want carnage. I don't want people to suffer, but well, anyways, people will suffer if I make money. That is a given. If you win, other people lose, right? So you cannot say, I want to make money from the market and I want everybody to be happy. Check your facts, check your logic, because it doesn't work that way. There's a pot of cash, there's a pot of funds, and if you take more than what you put, you took from someone else. So someone must be really happy with losing money for that person to be happy if you make money. Anyways, cheap talking, get it out of the way, and let's continue with the rest of the charts. So yeah, daily is doing perfect. There's nothing yet broken about this. Even the volume, my analysis in the morning, this candle not being able to catch up with this, it means that they have slowed down being able to make damage. This is big damage, this is less damage, and we put a higher low. Good to go. We are with the MACD bullish cross still intact. Let's cross fingers, if you're along, that we can break now this 92 to 96K. That is basically, we are observing Bitcoin, how potentially it could lose December 2025 virginity. So that is how cool is this video. And remember, remain talking, chatting. It's all great to see you all active in the chart. We have 60 people. Come on, guys. Where is everybody? The market is what's called a pari-mutual system. Yeah, I guess. Good day, all. Good day, Mariano. Is there any way to only buy your reverse RSI? Dude, if you're just gonna get the reverse RSI, you might as well use the free one. Find that one or read the paper about reverse RSI, give it to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT just to code it for you. It's probably gonna take just 5 minutes to do that anyways. You can even take a picture of mine and say, ChatGPT, give me the same parameters he's got. It's gonna do it. Maybe 1 or 2 few tries, but it will do it. If you buy my indicators, it's because you really want many of them, right? I have like 100 indicators. They're all part of a bundle that are still in a sale. Let me take advantage of this. There is a sale going on Black Friday and it's at 50%. So if you want all those indicators or if you want to access them via Telegram, go and get the sale. Let's continue with the charts. I don't want to lose you. Let's cover the weekly. I didn't cover the weekly, and since we are having a bit of move to the upside, is this it? Are we reclaiming something? Well, we are back again with this dude that last week was breaking out and it ended up closing below the resistance. Now, the second dude in here is beyond that resistance for now, okay? We cannot just come back below 90 because we're going to end up being rejected by resistance a second week. Ideally, we want to reclaim that 44. At 44, I kind of start getting excited in a way that that we have a chance to go into a global resistance here at 62. 62 today is a price of 129K, and the 44 RSI is the green line, which is 96K. So let's reclaim 96. Let's close above 96. Ideally above 101, just so you make the boss happy. But if we get above 101, well, great. Then we have that 62 potentially on the table, because that is basically a bullish reclaim of the bull support of the whole cycle. And you're reclaiming that. Basically, you're slapping in the face all the shorts and telling them to go home. At that point, there's going to be big pain for the shorts. Over 100K, we can look into the liquidations that are there. Maybe the stochastic RSI that we closed on Sunday, that is a bullish cross, is starting to get us some momentum to the upside. Please review KTA, RSI Plus has it, I think. Someone found it. Yep, there's one that is free. And if you find the paper, ask ChatGPT, find me the paper of the reverse RSI and print it. Post it on your wall. You know, there's nothing more nerd than that. Print it and put it on a t-shirt and put TTP showed me the reverse RSI. Here's the paper, because I didn't write the paper. Someone else did. I don't remember the name. But the story is, one day I was thinking, there has to be a way that I can calculate if I have a resistance on the RSI, what price is that? And one day I search reverse RSI. How can I reverse the calculus of that? And I read the paper. And then I thought, well, if there's a paper, there must be a way to code this thing. And I started following the formula and I coded my own indicator. And then I realized that there was someone else that did the same. There was a reverse RSI for free, open source. Well, obviously mine is a lot better. Sure, I agree with that if you insist. Argentinians, we are a very special race. Anyways, so here's the bull market. We got that 101. That is now my nightmare. Not my nightmare, but it's kind of my source of fun. It keeps me active in my trading. It doesn't get me too lazy, like a lazy cat just sleeping. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum we're going to look a little bit later. Let me complete Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the boss. Bitcoin is at the SOPR level, at the first PNR. The second one is 97. The first one is 99. The 97 was courtesy of this liquidation that went into 88. Immediately after we got this anomaly that I still don't know if it was an internal move in Coinbase. But let's ignore this move up. Let's just focus on the liquidation. Those are people that close at a loss and that produce bullish signs in here from the SOPR. This one didn't produce because it couldn't manage to pinch neither the first or the second. But still, it's very low relative to how low the oscillator has been. We only pinched that at 80K and we only been at 0.99 before that, prior to that, in April. So we are definitely squashing people. Short-term holders are capitulating, not the worst in history, but a decent amount, more than we were at 1, where I was complaining this is still not capitulation. You see, that is capitulation, a little bit deeper. You need to feel the stab getting in your intestines. And at that point, blood in the street, capitulation. Yeah, there you go. And we got it at 80. Let's continue with this. So there's so much debate out there whether we are entering in a bear market. And I see people that I actually respect, you know, like Alessio Rastani, for example. I don't remember if I'm saying properly his surname, but I used to like watching his videos a lot. And yesterday I put his video in the summary on Gemini. I didn't watch it. I don't watch videos of other TA. And I just wanted to know what he's saying. And he's debating whether we are entering a bear market. I don't know if anyone has told him that there's just a few points until we get to the bottom of the channel in here in momentum. There's not much left. Now it's bouncing up. Are we going to get that dead cat bounce? If we get that dead cat bounce into resistance like in 2021, you guys owe me something, because no one is expecting that thing to do that. And I've been monitoring this for, pretty much the end of the previous cycle, expecting to have something similar. I don't know if it's going to play out, but if it does, you have to give me something, at least a thumbs up, a like in this video, even if it hasn't happened yet. We're doing everything to reclaim on the monthly. This needs to go back above 94. Ideally, we need to close above 94,346. It's a big number there. It's the same number that we need to do on the daily. And yeah, we potentially can see this in green for a lapse of a moment. Still is in the red in the monthly. Hopefully we can turn it into green, and hopefully we can reclaim this big trend line in there on the monthly. That's gonna bring a splash of positiveness in the market, and we need to be very careful with turning to flipping bullish too much. Really careful. It's gonna be really tempting. If we go at the 100, 101, fasten your belt. Chew strong. Do not buy the crap that they're going to tell you. You're going to scroll through YouTube and everybody's going to be to the moon, 200K, 500K. Chew strong. And remember that even if we go to those prices, you are standing on a massive potential huge trap. That is the precise technicals of 48K before we confirm the bear market in the past cycle. So if we don't, good. I'm good. I'm already loaded in a long, and I'm going to try to get it to survive the 101. If we get rejection from there, we need to do something very quick. All right, let's go back to short term. In here, we have the open interest. It came sharply into the orange line, and at the same time we did that, we started bouncing back up. Why? Because we clear out the open interest of the longs. They got out of the way, and we started again from a position of strength. Position of strength for longs is always the lower you are below the orange line, the better, right? People are saying that the short-term holders are accelerating in their selling. I saw this in here, and that's coming from on-chain analysis, Bain Crypto. I don't know if it's a reputable source, but I don't see anything changing really. We already talked about this like 1 or 2 weeks ago, that we started selling sharply from 18th of November into December. 12 days that we've been sharply selling. That hasn't really changed in the past 24 hours. It's just the same, and it's currently affecting the price. Still very small buying pressure on the spot ETF. Still extreme fear. And here you go. Whoa, what a trading range in here. I told you, we are not really going for the liquidity so far. I'm starting to claim victory that we're going to go up, but I shouldn't really. I said in here, we don't have much liquidity. We have to go into 76 or we have to go into 95. A market maker needs to make a decision. This can still be a trap for the bulls, but it seems that this persistence to come back into this range, psychologically, it tells me that people were thinking, oh my God, the Japanese crash is coming. The 2.0 carry trade, it's going to collapse and we're going to have a massive capitulation. And that was hinting that they're going to increase the rates. And I don't know if it's been fully confirmed. Let me know in the comments. I still keep an eye on the comments right there. I don't know if they confirm or if they discard, but look at this. We have done a V recovery from inverse head and shoulder, as we were saying in the morning on the 15-minute chart. We came right here. Whether to retest for new lows, I don't know, but it's interesting that we managed to recover all the move down. And I guess that can be partially attributed to risk on also rallying today on general markets. Let's go with the rest. So we have a few liquidations in here into the 92 that, if this continues bullish, is a good recipe to get us higher, right? But we need to liquidate this 90. We need not to get a full rejection from there, but actually to survive that and carry on into 92, okay? Remember, those 92 are sweet levels that brings back the opium into the top of the range. Potentially, okay? I'm not counting victory. In no way I'm gonna do that yet. I think if we go into 92 and break out from the 92, then we got a clear pattern in here. It's interesting how they are defending the 90K now. They definitely from Binance are driving all of this. And you got 114 of defense versus 980. Then at 97, you got that defense there that we saw this morning. We noticed on the order book, this is the order book aggregated of all exchanges. On the right-hand side, you have only Binance, which is very important because it's been driving things recently. And this is the double bottom in progress. First resistance, 96.1. Second, 103. The board is ready, guys. I hope it's going to play out. I hope for you, right? Personally, I'm crossing fingers here for a rejection straight into 74, looking at the blood on the street, and I'm just going to grab a cup and enjoy my cup of tea. That's disgusting, but anyways, let's move on with the rest. We noticed that there was a buying wall in here at 81K, the 75K, that's on the weekly. On the monthly, it looks even more intense. I used that in the thumbnail this morning to say that so far things are intact on the daily. It was worth noting that daily hasn't suffered from this sell-off. And that could tell you that there was a false alarm yesterday, or it's a too early alarm. Maybe things are gonna break, will break eventually, but not just today. That could be the case. We'll see. We are now at the crossroad here, starting with the first immediate reaction, closer to 91, closer to finalizing that chunky fair value gap. We complete the chunky one. We have the last one there, and then we get this middle area, that black hole that I referred to when we were in here. And I said, this is the big challenge, guys. This is a challenge because on the daily, we were about to enter the falling wedge because this was huge support, huge resistance, and then again resistance. But I say, if we get rejected, let's hope that we stick around there. We didn't, because we have a huge hiccup, but we didn't put a low. And here we are again at the moment of truth. Can we reclaim falling wedge? Can we reclaim 91, 92? We'll see. It's a big level. I saw all the other channels in my crypto intelligence report were calling for the line in the sun is 87. Are they blind? Who the hell cares about 87? Tell me where there is anything at 87. These people don't know anything about TA. They should offer licenses and prove that they really know what they're talking about, because I just have to rinse my ears and my eyes with soap every time I watch another channel. It's painful. Funding rates are in the negative in here consistently. So if that's going to play out bullish, you have one argument to say maybe we are not yet in a bear market, because in bear markets, typically the funding rates in negative remain like that with the price coming down. It's just, that's the way. In a bull market with negative funding rates, price bounces back up and you get a new high. So let's leave the price prove that this area of negative funding rates, when we look at the distance, 2 months in the future, did it bounce? Did it produce something big? Then that will have been still bull market. Negative, oh, there you go. More challenges in the way. The delta is about to flip. So there's just 120K left. So again, fasten your seatbelt. As we get into 91, 92, we're going to run out of that petrol, and we need to stop breathing, stop thinking, stop saying anything, because we need to cross that 92 to the upside and not get another rejection with a lower low. That is where I'm happy. That's where you are sad. I guess it depends what's your strategy. The other way you can make me happy is if we cross 100K, we go straight into this open interest of 1.9 billion located at 112. Yeah, sure. If we pump all the way there, thanks to rate cuts, quantitative tightening ending, which I still don't see in the Federal Reserve balance sheet, but anyways, it's a promise so far, and a bunch of other elements. Let's have a look at the news. What other things are going on? The quantitative tightening ending, they're printing money. I've seen some injections. I think it was 13 billion. It is something. It is decent, but I wouldn't yet say, okay, this reverts everything so fast. We also have US stock futures that are doing good today, and that is calling for Bitcoin, inviting Bitcoin at least to go into challenging big levels, 90 to 92. And then we have some other things that are coming in later this week. ADP employment report on Wednesday, that is tomorrow, and PCE inflation on Friday. That inflation has implications for the 10th of December, although I feel like it's pretty much now guaranteed that we get the rate cuts. It's priced in. Of course, if there is a disappointment, the flip that we already had into 30%, this came back now into 87. A second flip into 30%, I don't think we will survive the low. It will go to 70 at the very least. If we saw anything like that coming in on Friday, I don't think it will flip, but you know, hopefully it does, just secretly between you and me. Let's have a look at some things. So the 4-year cycle, I've been pointing out that is for the first time that we are on a post-halving year, topping year, and we are in the negative. For that to flip that, we're still in the negative, right? But we have a few, we need to go into 94 to flip it back into green. And if we flip it into green and we hold it there by the end of the year, it will potentially be the last year on the 4-year cycle that we get a green candle, because after such a small move up, just to reclaim it, turn it barely into green, look at the trend, right? So this is a topping year. This is boss topping year. This is like a smaller version. This is ridiculously low. It closed at 48. And this is the one that we're debating. Are we going to manage this year to get that done? Or is this going to be the first year that we close in the red? And there's a lot of bullying Michael Saylor these days. And even I've been bullying him a little bit. I have to admit that I do not like the way the business is run. Just a matter of preference. Don't get offended. You can have your own opinion. And I know everybody in social networks, they all know better than anybody else. And I'm part of that as well. So I can, tolerate that people say you have no clue what you're talking about. But I think if you think about it, MicroStrategy, they are basically with a market cap smaller than their holding, and with using leverage and assuming that there won't be a 4-year cycle, and now he needs to sell. So there is a bit of double narrative in there. There is an inconsistency in a way, because Bitcoin was supposed to, you just hold it, right? You just use the network, using all this way of profiting from it with leverage and then putting at risk the actual business is something that I just don't swallow. I don't like it. I hate it. I find that it could be the next FTX. And if you don't agree, write it down in the comments. We are all free to say, still we can say some things in the internet. So exercise your right to say what you think. And I'm going to read it. It's fair enough. US banks. The Federal Reserve just pumped $13.5 billion into the US banking system through overnight repos. This is the second largest liquidity injection since COVID and surpasses even the peak of the dot-com bubble. Probably fine. Carry on. So this is posed as a bullish kind of sign, right? Because if they are printing, is because they're trying to devalue even more the dollar, and therefore that's an opportunity. But think twice, because sometimes when we get into situations like dot-com bubble, COVID, before we go straight into that, there is a correction. And that is the one that we need to be aware of. It's not just the printing, how much high it can get. The million-dollar question is, do we get a big correction, a crash, a recession, and then that injection devalues the dollar, but first it goes lower before it recovers? And, you know, at least Michael Burry thinks that that is the case. He's going all in now. He's also shorting Tesla, together with NVIDIA that he started a few weeks ago with Palantir. And he's been wrong all the time. I'm not saying that he's a genius on doing this, because he's got so many times that he has done this. And a few times he made big money. Many other times he closed at a loss, or at least that's why I speculate it will make sense, because, you know, the call wasn't correct. All right, I'm going to look at the comments, and then I'm going to go with Ethereum, and then we can do some altcoins, guys. So thanks so much. Now we are 130. Oh my God, we more than double the amount of people watching at the moment. So that's great. 130 people can make a lot of noise in the chat, and that can make the channel do really well. So I really encourage you guys to continue chatting. So I'm more than keen to continue doing live streams like this if you are enjoying them. If you don't know what to say where you're from, say hello, say what time it is, tell me what's your favorite color, or tell me what are your top 3 coins to hold in the bull market, or what are you going to buy first once we get into the bear market. Whatever, I'll look into the comments. But now I need to go in Ethereum, because I promised to my community on Patreon, and some comments as well, people were asking, when are you going to give another update on Ethereum? So let's go with Ethereum. Bear with me, because I need to change these charts now to Ethereum. We can use trading different, of course. Let's go with Ethereum. Ooh, we're approaching weekly resistance there. That pattern is looking sexy. Can you see it? Let me know in the comments if you can see it. I think it looks pretty good. Better than before, certainly. Oh, we got a delta signal. Nice. We'll cover what's going on in that. Let's focus today on the chart. Let's focus on Ethereum, Bitcoin. And on the weekly, and on the liquidations. Right. So Ethereum really performed really bad in here. My previous time I reviewed the daily, I can see that I was thinking that if this uptrend continues, remember that Bitcoin was going into 90, and Ethereum managed to get it above 3,000, and it got the same rejection. With Monday, Bloody Monday, it sent Ethereum into here. So no longer we can talk about that cap and handle, because it's a little bit destroyed. I mean, technically we can. Yeah, I'm wrong on that. So if we draw this cap and handle like this, just like that, it's always controversial to draw inverse, or what is it called? Head and shoulders. You need to convince yourself this is a head and shoulders. It's nothing else, okay? Do not imagine weird things, because then people start writing weird things in the comments, and it's really not appropriate. So if this holds that level of the 2.7, 2.8 right there, we have the potential to defend the inverse head and shoulder or the cup and handle. That depends on whether we do or we don't do a right shoulder. We are right now challenging the weekly resistance. Remember, I don't like to trade breakouts. If that's your thing, if you are used to manage risk of a breakout trade, go for it. But at the moment, we can see in here that we are also about to complete the inverse head and shoulder on the RSI. That is at a level of 44 RSI on the daily. And if we break out from that, we immediately have the resistance of 45. That's the downward sloping, the yellow one in there. And that can bring that breakout. There can be another rejection in here. After all, we have 1, 2, 3, this could be the fourth rejection. So that's why taking a trade on a breakout is challenging and you need to know how to manage it. If we get a rejection there, we could continue filling this area of the triangle, and that will look like potentially a new low in there. We got some liquidity in here, but number 1, 2, and 3 that are sitting right here, even though they look large, right? They look enormous. But I guarantee you that what was here before was way larger than 1, 2, 3. So the point is, in order to hit 1, which is 2.5, or to hit 2K, or to hit 1.8, you really need the markets to have a period of red, a correction at the very least. Not necessarily saying, the end of the world kind of correction, but it needs to continue correcting. That puts on Ethereum to fool around with 2.5 and 2K. That's the area where I'm interested in considering buying. I'm treating Ethereum really disrespectfully because he's been misbehaved. So I don't want to average at this level. I'm just going to sit there and see if we go into 2K. If we don't, so be it. Opportunities are at 5K. For that, we need to confirm that Bitcoin is going to have a decent rally to the upside. We need Bitcoin minimum to get into 117K for Ethereum to even consider that 5K. And we have so much challenges around the way, like that 3.6 looks really tough. We already got rejected there. So if we were to reverse bullish in December, that 3.6 is going to be the first massive boss. Think about this. If you go there and on the first rejection, you need to hold 3.3 to form a potential inverse head and shoulder. If you go any way lower than that, well, technically we did in here, right? Let me zoom in here so you can see there is a week right there. I think this was 10th of October, wasn't it? No, that was 4th of November. 10th of October is somewhere in here. So 4th of November, I already did that, but it ended up closing higher than that. So you can wick down in here into 2.9 if you want, but the daily needs to close back about 3.3 and respect the closing prices around that to remain somehow into what we could say is a inverse head and shoulders. But if we start putting closes below 3.3, like 3.1, 3.29, and then we destroy the pattern and it's calling for a wave down into 2K. At that point, I put back my smile because averaging down 2K with 3.8 is a lot better. I immediately push down more than 1K the average, and then I can do a third order in a bear market if we confirm it. That is kind of how I plan things, if you want. I'm very, wide, and that sounds terrible. Oh my God. In Chile, people will be throwing me things in the face. But I have a forward thinking that's more elegant. I plan ahead a lot. I don't say, well, what price. I don't take short, small things when we are particularly with a big risk of entering into a bear market. You cannot take this easily. It's a tough situation. Yes. Let's go into the weekly. Weekly has been the most misbehaved, even worse than the daily time frame, because We did a breakout in here. We faked out because, as you can see, we came back below 44. So that is not just a painful retest, it's a fake out. And we are below that line now. So weekly needs to do a lot. And we have an opportunity of our revenge rally here into 84. I think it's low likely. There's some other levels of alignment in here around the 85 RSI. I don't think we can do it. It would have been perfect if we start from the actual retest, but now that we enter so low there, you know, how can you achieve that? It's literally just too far. You need to go vertical and achieve it by what? 29th of December? It's too tough. So I think we're gonna do something diminishing here. So let me downgrade this crappy coin. What a waste of time. This can get into probably 60 by now. I think we're gonna enter the area of doing lower highs in the momentum. So let me see how much is that if we get the breakout. 62. That can give you a 4.7. Okay, and I'm talking about 62. So if I gave you the 84, that's the one that you're gonna get in the nonsense channels that you're still watching for some reason. I don't know why, but you know, I get statistics of who are you cheating with, what other channels you're watching, and you wouldn't believe the channels that other people that watch my channel are watching. It's almost offensive to me to learn that the same people that are in this live stream, they're watching those channels. It's ridiculous. You're better off watching Peppa Pig or I don't know, some cartoons, and you will learn more of technical analysis. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments which channels are you watching, and please be honest. Don't try to push yourself. Oh, I only watch X, Y, and Z because it's the most technical one. Be honest. Be honest. What do you watch and why? And let's see how people are replying. So that 84 is a magnificent 12K. Some people are calling for that. So that's why I'm showing it to you. Here I'm saying we got kind of a big trouble at around 60 RSI. That's what I think. And we got that delta signal. And I'm going to explain what it is. That means that the longs versus shorts on Ethereum have pinched the PNR. Which one? Both. Both have been pinched. So that means that the longs are started on the 17th of November with less than who? Less than this one on the 3rd of October of 2022. That is kind of beginning of the bull market, right? So it has fully reset the number of longs. It's crazy. You only get less in June of 2022. So if this guy goes back the longs into 16, there you go. You have as little longs as the beginning of the bull market. And that's alpha, I think. So this is bouncing now from the PNR, as you can see in there. It's at 36 from 27. I ignore whether this is going to get there and then see a rejection. I ignore if we're going to get that high. But the last time that we have 50s was all this trading area in there. So that's from 17th of February into September. We were kind of using that as support. Now we could rally on longs, shorts into that as a potential resistance. That's why it's printing that. That is because we pinched the lower band and we came back up. Socials on Ethereum, very low. No one cares about it. So potentially we could get that rally to the upside. Let me see, what's the next boss after here? So if we started a rally, volume profile is at 3.4 into 3.5, is kind of the biggest area of volume. Then we have resistance at 4.5. So 3.5 and 4.5 are big levels. I think in terms of liquidity, well, I covered that as well. I covered that and I covered all of that. So let's go with the coins that you want. I'm not going to do Solana. I'm going to let you drive. I'm going to scroll to the first comment and see who was the first to comment. And we're going to pick one from the top and we're going to do XMR. And then, guys, after I finish XMR, I'm gonna pick the first coin I find from the bottom. So make sure that your coin is actively appearing in the chart so I get to pick it. I'm not trying to be a CUNT. I'm basically wanting to motivate you to stay active in the chart. That really helps the channel. XMR, USDT, on KuCoin. So this is Monero. And Monero has been pumping every time that Bitcoin is about to top, just like Zcash. And I think people take profits in the exchange and they extract them into these privacy coins, which are being now challenged by Europe and in many countries. And let's see, this one moved last week up into 438 and now is coming back down. So it's not very active on the weekly. It has reclaimed this channel, but I think this channel is no longer valid. I'm gonna get rid of this line. It's already spoiled. And I'm going to place a line like that. And I'm gonna say that this broke out already on the 1st of September, which you probably already know. So what we need to do now is to check what's going on there. So the most bullish support on the weekly is today being challenged. So if there is profit taking, assuming that I'm right on that assumption, if there's profit taking from Bitcoin and they start using the network, that's gonna boost potentially the network as well, in this case Monero and Zcash. And if it's too much profit taking, it's gonna basically get this one to pump, and that could be something bullish for XMR because it reclaims bullish support on the weekly. If it doesn't happen, it could mean that maybe Bitcoin is gonna continue a little bit longer. Just a finger in the air, kind of not very technical analysis. What else do we have in here? We have a new higher high, we have a higher low, we have a structure that started from a double bottom in April 2024, has gone through this channel, but has taken the first big bullet with losing the actual channel. I cannot say the word. In August that happened, but it has been reclaimed with a decent bullish pattern. So that's bullish. So where is the top of this channel? Can we really get there, or is... So I will pay attention to this channel if it wasn't for this anomaly there. So that is a bearish signal, right? When you lose that level after you are in a channel, if you escape the channel and you re-enter the channel, that's a signal in the opposite direction. It can be like on the lower end, calling for up, on the upper end, calling for down. And we already had it. So I really shouldn't be using this. I should say this ends there. And what do we have for upside? We have this ATPNR, and we can look at that in the price. We can also, actually, I want to use Fibonacci trend extension in here. Let's do it from here to here. The extension of one is giving me 550. And the reverse RSI is giving me an 80, which is currently at 676. So that is if the RSI manages to reclaim the 62 and it continues into this topping area. Notice that this is not just putting a new low and breaking down. For the bears in here, this could be a bearish signal. So it's breaking down. If it closes by Sunday in here, it's a breakdown and it's a full bearish structure, right? So you have a low, lower high there and breakdown. So hopefully we can reclaim that 62, 63 and continue into the PNR and then get those bullish targets. For that, we need Bitcoin probably to top and go a little bit sideways, showing that they are taking those profits. Let's go with the next coin. And as I say, the next coin, I'm going to just pick it from the next comment. And we got Ethereum, TTC. All right. And someone is asking for Kita. Look, Roberto, I don't have any trouble reviewing low cap. I don't know anything about Kita. But if it doesn't have enough history, sorry, this is Casta. If it hasn't had enough history, I'm just gonna skip it. And look, it's only listed in bluffing. Well, I guess I can find some levels and still help you in here. We are at all-time lows, and on the daily we have had a rejection in here, and on the daily RSI we have a structure that is pretty clean. And this has already, formed some sort of pattern of accumulation, and it's got its first higher low there, but it's not a lower low in the price, so it's not bullish divergence. The most traded area, the point of control of the full range, is 38. And really the bearish case is that this point of control there, that was previous support, that was the price listed, it was resistance, that you come back and you cannot manage to reclaim the 40 cents or 38, somewhere around there. If you can manage to reclaim the 40, then there can be a breakout into 58. So what I would prefer is that this guy, if he cannot break out there, that it continues to squash, something like that. Like if we can do that on the daily and get the breakout from the upside, that looks interesting to take a long from around those areas. I'm not going to take that long. I'm not interested in trading such a coin that is listed only in one exchange, but I'm open-minded to give you my opinion. What else can we see in here? 58. There was some sort of head and shoulder in here. And yeah. Let me see on the price action. Right, so the price action has already broken out and is already retesting. So the price action is front running the momentum. That is 1 point less, okay? I mean, not that you need less points. This is already looking crap in terms of price action. It's not really bullish looking. There is something going on in there that could promise something, but crappy price action, double top, it looks like it's a pump and dump thing, a scheme, but that is also something negative. Breakout of the price and momentum is not really following. Momentum hasn't broken out. So another warning alert, yellow warning for this coin. Let's go with another one. SUI. I covered SUI last week. Yeah, let's do SUI again. I guess I can summarize it. SUI USDT. Yeah. So this has found support on my level there on the 1.3. And it's starting to build something. If this week we reclaim this level of 34, which has been the support throughout the bull market, that can bring some upside into the 49. I think I say that last week, but now we are progressing on that. So we got that 49 level that is coming in at 2.62 on SUI. I'm not expecting a lot better, just, for obvious reasons, but this really looks bad. So we had two rallies that were perfect, and the third was horrible. Every time it broke out, it put a low and it got sold off too aggressively, and then it ended up losing all support and it went straight into bear market territory. So now there is the bull case, which is you reclaim the 35, and you can potentially go into 49. That's your range to play with. Of course, manage your risk. There's no way I'm guaranteeing you get into 49. There's no way I'm guaranteeing that by Sunday we confirm the reclaim. There's a possibility at this point in time. You could still close below 35, and then, you know, it's going to look like a retest that has a potential lower low incoming. It all depends on how the rest of the markets influence the move in here. But SUI has already entered a territory of very poor performance. So many coins haven't done anything, and many coins still have a potential to push higher in this cycle if they haven't done it yet. But SUI has had some big moves. These two waves in here were incredible, and this got decimated, and it formed M patterns. It already liquidated all the range. But socials are spiking. I wonder what's going on with SUI. There must be something in the news at the moment. Let's have a quick look. So there's just price analysis. Yeah, just price analysis. Sometimes when there is some fundamental news, you can see that the socials are kind of coming back to retest there. This is all the socials of the bull cycle and the breakdown. No one else cares about SUI here, and it's pinching back into potential resistance, mimicking what the weekly momentum is also doing. So in my opinion, I wouldn't touch this. You know, I held SUI, I sold it. This is not for me. You know, it's too much risk for the potential reward that I can get. But if you're interested in my view, that is it. Liquidity. SUI, we can see liquidity. Let's see SUI. Yeah, we got liquidity on SUI. Yeah, on the daily, this looks even worse. We are forming a double bottom on the daily. We left on the table 1.2. That liquidity starts from 11th of October because this went lower than that. So it's not as substantial. Now on the upper end, we have that 1.8 and the 1.65. The biggest at the moment is 273. But remember, the target of 49 was 2.6. So at that point, guys, of course, I don't see the future. I don't have crystal balls. If you get into 49 and we see a breakout on SUI, because who knows? You know, there's a new ETF, sexy, that everybody loves. And you end up having a full rally back into the global resistance, which is what I'm expecting not to see in here. That is a rally into 82. I know many of you really enjoy seeing big numbers. It makes you sleep better. I don't believe in Santa Claus, but if you do, here is your level. So that is $11.6 incoming. That's an extension of 2 relative to this rally. So it doubles the performance of that one. So that is big Santa Claus believing, in my opinion. Let's go with the next. So I got DOT in here. Let's do it in this chart. On Binance. Look at that. There was a rolling over in here, but it puked back into the PNR. That's why I'm laughing. DOT is at the 2.2. Look, lower than the listing price. It destroyed everything. All dreams went to the toilet in here. What's going on with the momentum on Polkadot? It's at 33, the same as October 2023, the same as bear market. So it's a full reset of the momentum. There's no new levels to look at apart from the all-time low on Binance of 0.6. Not looking great. And let's try to be devil's advocate and let's try to find something, some hopium in here. So from here to here, you have a breakout layer 1. From here, you have a layer 2. That obviously failed. And in here, you have a layer 3 potentially incoming. Yeah, we can get rid of that line. So a layer 3 of, obviously this is clean. This is a clean breakout, double bottom, layer 1 straight into top. This is a layer 3. So every time that you do another layer, you're kind of losing momentum. But we are starting from very low, from a full reset. So that if we manage to form something like this or a higher low, anything there potentially can bring in some stuff, but there is a heavy resistance that we haven't managed to cross, which is the RSI of 50. And if we get one more of those at 50 from these lows, where are we trading? That's the big question at the moment. Is 50 RSI on the weekly, that is your resistance of 3.6. It's not very high, so it's just a move of 55% to the upside as we start approaching the most traded area in history on the weekly on Polkadot, which is $4. So at 3.5, momentum could break out. If we break out from that momentum, we have a chance of facing $4 and potentially continuing. But be aware that at 3.5, momentum kind of faces resistance immediately from the layer 3 line I have there. In terms of liquidity, I think we have that. Yeah. And we ran out of time, guys. So with this one is the last one, but do not go anywhere. If you haven't written any comment down below, hit the like and all of that. And I'm going to complete this live stream with the analysis on Polkadot on liquidity daily. And why I don't have RSI? This is unacceptable. You cannot do anything with without RSI. Let's get it very thick, just like that. And wow, this decline in there is almost so perfect. Like you can almost place a line. I'm not sure if you can place it like this, or if you use this one. I think I prefer the first one. There is now something going on right there, kind of a local resistance that is just breaking out at the moment. Thanks to that, the daily is doing this. It's breaking out from 50 straight into 58. I don't like it like this. I've been saying multiple times, if you haven't watched my tutorials, I prefer the closer possible to multiple touches and the longer range cover by the RSI breakout is my preference. You know, I'm picky, but this thing with 2 touches until 56 and then come down and that, you know, sometimes after that you get something like this and then you get a breakout from later. So that's why I kind of say, yeah, it's a breakout, but I'm not very excited. Yeah, it's together with the price and momentum breaking out, not momentum preceding price, which is again my preference. But this breakout could be going towards the 279. So let's move that red out of the chart to see what is the local liquidity around here. We have incoming 2.5 and then the resistance at 2.8. And on the lower end, our risk at the moment is 1.8 followed by 1.6. We got 2 chunks in there, as you can see. This needs to be with 2.5. Yeah, now you can see the alignment there. Both are using all bands at the same time. If we just use the biggest liquidation pools, you got a large one there at 2.4. That's a low hanging fruit at the moment for the breakout. So, because you can go into 2.4, just take out of the way the 25x's and then still this can bleed more, like I show you there. But if market maker is enjoying that the rest of the markets are bullish, they can go for higher. Notice that the liquidations that we just took were the biggest ones on the lower end. Now on the upper end, they're not that big. And on the lower end, we have that 1.8 to deal with. That is currently the largest one as well. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. And I'll do one more probably on Thursday obviously, if you keep hitting the like, writing down comments there, the more activity there is in the live stream, the more chances that I continue to do it and the more frequently I'm going to do it. So thanks so much for